You want a cinematic experience, but look at the reality of a modern home theater setup. You have a massive TV dominating the wall, a soundbar with its separate subwoofer, and if you want high frame rates, a dedicated gaming monitor tucked away somewhere else. This bar chart compares the $3,999 asking price of the Hisense PX4 Pro against the combined market costs of a premium 85-inch LED TV, an entry-level ultra-short-throw projector, and a high-end gaming monitor. Hisense positions the PX4 Pro as a premium all-in-one ultra-short-throw solution that replaces all three. The pitch is straightforward. You push this chassis just inches from your wall, and it projects a flexible screen size, anywhere from 80 up to 200 inches. You don't need to mount external speakers or route cables to a separate gaming rig. That feature set targets three very specific buyers. There's the interior design minimalist who wants a massive display without a black rectangle ruining their living room, the hardcore gamer demanding ultra-low input lag, and the purist cinephile chasing accurate color and deep contrast. Packing those three distinct ecosystems into a single box creates a highly demanding technological balancing act. You are buying a highly specialized light engine, not a simple plug-and-play television replacement. The engine driving this system is Hisense's proprietary LPU 3.0 pure RGB triple laser light source. It pushes out a very bright 3500 ANSI lumens. Look at this CIE 1931 color space graph. The smaller triangle represents standard television color output, but this much larger secondary triangle shows the 118% BT 2020 color volume achieved by the pure RGB lasers in the PX4 Pro. That wide spectrum is what gives the image enough punch to fight through daytime ambient light. But pure RGB lasers introduce a specific optical artifact. Depending on the screen, viewers might notice laser speckle, a faint, shimmering texture visible in bright, solid areas of the picture. To control that speckle, and to ensure those 3,500 lumens don't wash out completely when the sun is up, you cannot project this onto a bare white wall. You have to pair it with a specialized ambient light rejecting screen. The daytime color performance is spectacular on its own merits. However, reaching that level of clarity requires a mandatory secondary investment in an ALR screen, which adds hundreds or thousands of dollars to your budget. Switch the environment to a pitch black room, and the priorities change. For cinephiles, brightness matters less than the ability to produce convincing shadows and dark scenes. Hisense tackles this using a hardware-level 7-stage mechanical iris lens paired with their CineBlack Pro processing system. As you can see in this lens cross-section, the mechanical iris physically constricts to choke off the thickness of the light beam. By physically blocking light during dark scenes, the projector achieves dramatically deeper, more realistic blacks than typical ultra-short draws that rely on software dimming. This hardware yields a dynamic contrast ratio of 6,500 to 1. It is a massive improvement for projection tech, but in scenes with bright highlights against dark backgrounds, it will show a slightly elevated gray floor compared to the true blacks of an OLED. The mechanical iris is a serious engineering upgrade for the short-throw category. But purists need to accept that a reflected image will never perfectly match the absolute black levels of a traditional premium OLED television. For gamers, the PX4 Pro is the first ultra-short-throw projector on the market to earn an AMD FreeSync Premium certification. At its baseline, the system processes a native 4K signal at a smooth 120 Hz. But if you adjust the settings, input lag drops all the way down to a blistering 1 millisecond. Hitting that 1 millisecond response time requires a technical compromise. You have to push the refresh rate to 240 frames per second, which forces the projector's internal processing to drop the resolution down to 2K, or 1440p. Pumping out a consistent 240 frames per second at 1440p is beyond the capabilities of a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. To actually saturate that refresh rate, you need a high-end, dedicated gaming PC hooked up directly to the unit. Projecting a responsive, tear-free image across 150 inches of wall space creates an incredibly immersive gaming environment. You just have to supply the heavy-duty external PC hardware required to drive it. Squeezing those display specs into a living room setup reveals a few logistical frictions. The audio is handled by a built-in 66-watt 4.0.2 channel system tuned by DeVellier. With top-firing height speakers supporting Dolby Atmos, the soundstage is robust enough that you can safely skip buying an entry-level soundbar. Look at this schematic of a standard living room setup. Housing that audio array results in a heavy chassis with an exceptionally wide physical footprint. Because of the tight 0.20 to 1 throw ratio, getting a large image requires pulling the unit further back, which means you need a specialized media console with enough depth to hold it at the correct distance from the wall. Then there is the operating system. The PX4 Pro runs on Hisense's proprietary Vita platform. It covers the basics, but lacks the deep App Store catalog and versatility you get from a dedicated Google TV or Apple TV interface. The irony of this all-in-one replacement device is that maximizing its potential often requires buying highly specific, deep furniture to house it and plugging in a third-party streaming stick just to access your preferred apps. This decision tree breaks down exactly whether that $4,000 investment makes sense. For hardcore gamers with powerful PCs, it is a strong buy. Unmatched 240Hz speeds on a massive scale cannot be replicated on a television. For purist cinephiles watching in the dark, consider alternatives. OLED TVs deliver better absolute blacks without laser speckle risk. Finally, for living room replacers, prepare a secondary budget. You will need an ALR screen and a streaming stick. That is the reality of the total cost of ownership. You must add the price of the screen, the external media player, and potentially a deeper credenza on top of the base price. Ultimately, the Hisense PX4 Pro succeeds in converging three massive pieces of technology into a single, highly capable chassis. But optimizing it means understanding that the initial purchase price is just the down payment on the ecosystem it demands.